Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. So last weekend, we completed a, a series of ceremonies for a couple of our students who were receiving shrines and celebrating the annual festivals for their shrines, etc. And it signifies an upgrade for them individually. But the way we do our work here in the School of Orisha Studies and Otudo Pawanifa Temple is organized in such a way that it's a real upgrade for the individual, but it's also an upgrade for us as a community, as a collective. And so we grow and expand collectively as we support the individual growth and expansion of our members. And one of the ways that I can always track the nature of our growth and expansion is through the series of impromptu and seemingly casual conversations that I have with my students and apprentices during the ceremonies. So these ceremonies, they 3 days intensively, right, of activity. And over that time, I'm privy to some one-on-one time with my people. And so, in this particular instance, last weekend, when I reflect on the conversations, where people are is we're collectively recognizing the ironic nature of growth and expansion, and how we spend so much time praying and sacrificing and keeping observances and behaving in a certain way to achieve certain outcomes in our lives. And then when the moment arrives for us to kind of formally cross a threshold from one phase of life to another, one developmental stage to another, we find ourselves excited about the opportunity, but also intimidated by what it takes, intimidated by the environment that is necessary for us as individuals to grow. So, they say, pressure creates a diamond, right? And there's a certain amount of tension and high demand experiences that are going to set the stage for you to actually improve. Not just for you to go through the motions, but for you to actually improve. There's a stress test, there's an ordeal. And we know this about initiation overall. All initiation is ordeal. It's a staging and a reenactment of specific kinds of ordeals that elicit a certain spiritual awakening within you as the practitioner. And so, collectively, though, as I was talking to my people, that was kind of the consensus. That was the shared spirit that was filling our awareness over the weekend. Is that, hey, I'm growing and I'm upgrading, but it's scary. I'm growing and I'm expanding, but I feel a bit intimidated, you know. And in that moment, this is the lesson that I want to share with you. In that moment, when you realize that the challenge frightens you, you're going to be tempted to take a shortcut. You're going to be tempted to opt out. You're going to be tempted to quit. You're going to be tempted to throw some kind of a chaos, scenario into the process that will derail it for you or for other people. All kinds of things will come up. People will respond in different ways. The opportunity to grow and expand and to have all your dreams fulfilled elicits a whole bunch of different kinds of responses from people. It's not the same. And sometimes it's not what you expect. You'd be surprised at how people start to create problems for themselves just at the moment that they're on the verge of growth and, a breakthrough. And the key, however, the lesson is time. It's not like when you meet the challenge and then you compromise your integrity at that moment, right there on the spot, that day, that next day, you're going to see everything come to, fall apart. No, 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 no. You're going to compromise, and weeks and months, maybe years will go by where you think that you're actually getting over. But sooner or later, it will all be revealed. Some of these things have like 10 years. There are things that I'm looking at and I'm like, yep, 10 years ago, there would have been no way that I would have anticipated that things would have unfolded the way that they did, right? I just knew that I had to stay this course. I had to remain committed to a certain way of doing things. But I can see with my eyes, tangibly, hardcore, that, 5 years later, this is how it turned out for me. This is how it turned out for someone else. 10 years later, I can see this is how it turned out for me. This is how it turned out for someone else. That's the key to the way Ifa manifests. It may look like people are getting over. It might look like it, but they're not. Right? So there's a great verse of Ifa that epitomizes this. And it tells of three princes. And these three princes happen to be sons of the deities, Eshu, Ogun, and Oromila. And while they were still in the palace with their fathers, they were told that, hey, no, it was Eshu, Ogun, and Obatala. Each of them were told, I'm going to protect you in a certain way. And so, to make a long story short, they were cultivated and groomed to become, princes. They were sent out to have their own realms. And then the time came that Eshu disguised himself as an old man. And he showed up with this, let's say, a wheelbarrow. And this wheelbarrow was filled with money and other items. But it's a stack of money. And he goes to the first prince and he says, I'm burning this medicine. Only thing I'm missing is alligator pepper. Do you have alligator pepper? He says, yeah, of course, Baba, I got alligator pepper. He says, listen, I'm gonna leave this with you. Please put on, 16 pods of alligator pepper and burn it all down. Well, the first two princes looked and they saw the money. One replaced the money with leaves. The second replaced the money with fabric, burnt it all down with the alligator pepper. The old man comes back. He says, did you burn this down for me? They say, yeah, of course, Baba, here it is. He says, okay, I got to go do something else. I'll be back. It was only the third one who had burnt the medicine down exactly as the old man requested. And so time presses on. Time presses on. Years later, each of these princes is surrounded by an army that's coming to invade. They run back to their fathers and they say, oh, help us, help us, help us. This is what's happening. My realm is being attacked from this direction. My realm is being attacked from that direction. Mine is being attacked from the other direction. Just then Eshu stands up and says, don't worry about it. We already got you covered. They said, really? How's that so? He said, a little while back I came and I asked you, or a little while back, an old man came to you and he asked you to burn some medicine with alligator pepper. Don't you remember? And they say, oh, yeah, I do remember. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go around the perimeter of your realm and you're going to sprinkle this medicine and you'll be fine. Of course, the first two go and they sprinkle the medicine. They weren't fine. The enemy came, encroached upon their space, destroyed their realms. Only the third was able to withstand or the attack. As a matter of fact, the enemy never even crossed their border. They were totally diverted by this Akoshe. And so the key lesson in that particular story is that time, there's an interval of time, there's a lag time between when you start cutting corners, when you start shucking and jiving, when you start, you know, putting the cart before the horse, you start doing things before you're really ready to do them. There's a lag time before then when you do it and the manifestation and the result of that time. When it comes to the moment when you need to really show and prove, you don't have anything in the tank. There's no sustenance. That you are incapable of actually meeting the moment. You don't have what it takes to actually rise to the occasion and define the moment as it should be in order to continue your forward motion. So I want to really encourage you, don't be swept up in this wave of showmen, because what you're encountering by and large are salesmen and showmen, people who have a little tiny veneer of knowledge and skill and are totally willing to overstate their ability, willing to totally overstate their skill, willing to fully overstate their you know involvement, the depth of their ability, the depth of their inclusion. They're willing to totally overstate that in order to make you a believer. But they have no gas in the tank, right? There's no gas in the tank. It's only going to take you, halfway between where you are and where you really need to be. But it requires discernment on your part. You've got to be very careful to be able to see. And that in and of itself takes time. If you are not in a hurry, if you're not in a rush, then you can take your time to observe. You can take your time to filter. You can take your time to vet. You can take your time to perform your due diligence and understand not just who you're dealing with, but also who you are truly, to assess what you're really working with, to evaluate where you are, what your real abilities are, what your real motivations are, what is your real desired outcome. It takes time for you to actually get that part clear as well. And then based on that, you're going to have a better chances at understanding who are the right people for you to work with in order to help optimize your natural gifts and talents, your vision for life, and your greatest imaginable challenge. This, as always, is a lesson for the leaders. I'm calling out to those people who want to use everything that you have to create positive influence in the world. If you're one of those people, then I want you to visit me, Oloye Obafemi Origunwa, at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. Let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.